What is up guys, Goody here, and welcome back to another Napoleon Total War video. So, we are here on Spanish Lakeside, and things are picking up very quickly. So right at the start, we have the Spanish here, and they're going to be facing the Austrians, but look at this, Austrian player charging into stakes, getting absolutely slaughtered, but finally making over to Spanish lines, and that unit is breaking. Over here, though, we have some Voluntarios. They're going to be engaging some first Hussars, not to mention some Cuirassiers. And then behind that, we have some Cazadors. They're going to be shooting from horseback. So things are picking up very quickly on this side of the battle. Now, taking a look on the left side, we have the Prussians here. And they're going to be facing the French. And the French are going to be all the way down here at the opposite end. And they're going to be controlling the base of this hill. But taking a look back at this side of the battlefield, you can see Spanish reinforcements being sent in. We got some Hussars here, and they're about to get pinched between some Freikorps. Same as over here, Cazadors getting charged into the back. Definitely not expecting that, but some Spanish reserves are coming. We got some more cavalry, and hopefully they can help. You got the Hussars breaking, and we got the Archduke Cuirassiers. So big melee clash at the start of the battle. And this should be a very even matchup. Spanish cavalry is pretty elite, but over here, Voluntarios holding off very well against the Freikorps. And then we have more Prussian troops being sent over. We got some Prussian Fusiliers and some Jaegers. At the base of the hill, it looks like the Prussian player is going to be committing most of its troops on top. He does have some reserve units here. We got the 8th Life Regiment, not to mention some more cavalry. And then the foot guards, very elite troops. So taking a look back at the Austrian point of view, he's going to be engaging these Voluntarios. These guys are in square formation. They are going to start forming up now, but taking a heavy beating from the Austrians. And they are just outnumbered. So they are the front line for the Spanish player. And even more cavalry coming in from the Prussians. And once again, breaking some more Cazador units. But these guys are still pushing up, trying to get in the mix, but as that is going on, the Spanish line infantry are being pushed up. We have some light infantry just waiting to get in on the action. But the Spanish cavalry doing pretty well under the circumstances of a 2v1, and their numbers are still fairly high. But as for this poor Voluntario unit, they are getting absolutely decimated. Their flank is definitely exposed. More Jaegers, got some Hungarian Fusiliers. And out of disparity, they're going to be charging in, but break before they can even get there. Over here, we have an engagement. We've got some Prussian Fusiliers engaging some Chasseurs. That should be a very even matchup. And then over here, we have some Musketeers. They're going to be engaging some Polish Legion. But from the Spanish point of view, they seem to be doing alright. They did get cav charged into the Fusiliers. That is not good. But it looks like they will hold up. This other unit did make it into square formation, and as a result, these Prussian cavalry units should start to break. Spanish cavalry, after winning that engagement, are going to be sent back, but they are very tired, and that's going to take them a while to get back behind friendly lines. And as a result, they're going to get shot up as they do retreat. Spanish player, though, getting caught off guard. That cavalry charge wasn't super effective, but it did keep these guys stationary, and it is allowing these Musketeers to get some excellent shots off. But as for the Spanish player, he's definitely not spread out on this left flank. You can see how much more spread out these Musketeers are. And down to 66, up against 117. We got some more Jaegers being sent in now. Left flank seems to be pretty iffy, for the Prussian player. Some Chasseurs and Polish Legion up against one Musketeer unit. That is definitely not in his favor. But luckily he does have some Jaegers here at the base of this hill. And he really needs to push them up into range of the Chasseurs. And it looks like he's going to be doing just that. But he does need to be cautious of any cavalry charges. These guys are definitely isolated. And if one of these French cavalry units do make it to their lines, it is going to be devastating. But it looks like another Prussian cavalry charge, this time into the Spanish light infantry. Running through the Fusiliers, unable to form a square. Charge here by the Musketeers. They're going to get into melee combat with the Spanish. But the Prussian cavalry losing a lot of men. And their push is starting to dwindle down. They did break, but they did kill quite a few of the Spanish light infantry. Over here on the hill, we have some Hungarian Fusiliers and up against some Fusiliers. So Spanish outnumbered here, but they do have some more reserves. A lot of cavalry still. We got the general waiting and the Walloon Guards. These guys are heavily upgraded. We will see what he can do with them on the battlefield. So the Spanish player is starting to form kind of a U formation, and this is going to kind of create a choke point for the Austrian player and the Prussian player. Not to mention there are some French units very close by, and these guys are actually getting into melee combat. They're that close. Prussian player starting to see what is going on. He's going to be falling back because he's getting shot pretty much from both sides. And it looks like the Jaegers are going to be laying stakes, seeing that there is a cavalry charge coming in. Will he get stakes up in time? I do not think so, but luckily there are some Jaegers in reserves. But the Austrian Jaegers taking a beating right now. There is no friendly cavalry nearby, and the cav that is somewhat close is not engaging. So there goes one of the Jaeger units for the Austrian player. And it looks like he's going to be continuing his charge down to the Prussian Fusiliers. Prussian Fusiliers in pretty much a full retreat right now. And the Spanish cavalry having a very fun time mowing down these guys as they do try to run away. Luckily though, the Musketeers and the Hungarian Fusiliers are going to be countering. But this is going to allow some great volleys for the Spanish player. You see them caught up in square formation. They're not going to get any good volleys in. And it looks like a counter-charge by the Austrian player charging into the Fusiliers. And this time the Fusiliers not being able to form square. So the tables are constantly turning in terms of who is winning the engagement. But it looks like the Spanish cavalry did break. They just got too isolated from the rest of the army and too far into enemy lines. And they did end up routing. Austrian cavalry though still holding on despite the bad morale. And there they go, but they did a really good job in depleting this Fusilier unit, bringing them down to 49 men. And this is going to give some more time for the Austrians to form up their Hungarian Fusiliers and their Jaegers. He's actually shooting his own Jaegers in the back. What a shame. These guys do not deserve that. They got some of the coolest top hats in the game. But hopefully they do start engaging because they really need to. But over on the far right flank, an engagement still continuing. Fusiliers engaging some Jaegers. Jaegers do have the range advantage. So it looks like he's going to be falling back to a safer location. We still have the Walloon Guards here, not engaging. And not to mention, we got some Old Guard as well. So all the elite troops for the French and the Spanish pretty much are in the reserves. Smart move, not wanting to waste them right away at the start of the battlefield, and hopefully use them later on. French player though, getting some excellent shots in with his chasseurs. You see just how well of a position he is in. Even though he does not have the hill advantage, these guys are wide in the open, and he's going to allow to get some really good shots in. So as of now, the Spanish and the French aren't looking too great on this hill. A massive Prussian presence here. And they still have quite a bit of cavalry. We have another cavalry regiment being sent in to combat, and we will see where they are headed to. He's going to be running through the forest. It's going to slow him down quite a bit and allow the enemy forces to get some shots in. They are forming square though. These guys are just standing here taking a beating. He is giving the charge order, but it looks like he's going to be canceling that order, seeing that these guys are already in square and are well prepared. One of the Jaegers unit breaking, but there are still two more alive. Push here by the Austrian player, trying to get really close to the Spanish lines. And they're going to be engaging some light infantry. Now the light infantry don't seem to be responding. Not too sure if he turned off fire at will. There they go. Now they're engaging. So they're going to be engaging two Hungarian Fusilier units and a Jaeger unit. Both with some pretty high numbers still. We have a French push on this side of the battlefield. And hopefully the Prussian player does notice this. He has his elite troops here guarding the base of the hill, making sure no French reinforcements can arrive. But he's going to have to start falling back soon because these guys do have the range advantage. So Chasseur is pushing back up into the combat. Will they get the volley off, though? Foot guards staring them straight in the face. They might be in range, and yes, they are. Getting a brutal volley, and just like that, downing them 12 guys. Making that 13. So, musketeers, or excuse me, foot guards on the move to a better location. And we have these Jaegers now. They're going to be engaging these Chasseurs. And now the Chasseurs are going to be taking some resistance, but they are in the forest and well hidden. So it's going to be a very tough time for these Jaegers to be effective and get kills. But another big push here by the Austrian player, this time sending over some Hungarian Hussars, or Fusiliers. And they do outnumber the Spanish. Spanish player does notice this, so he's going to be shifting over some light infantry, removing quite a bit of the units on this far left flank down to the center, seeing that there is a bigger fight occurring. And now the Austrian player starting to lose some troops. There goes one Hungarian Fusilier unit. And hopefully he's able to fill that gap. And it looks like he will. He's got a lot of elite troops in the back. Got some more Hungarian Fusiliers. We got the Archduke Charles Legion, the 47th, and the 1st Regiment, the Emperor's Own. So, ton of elite troops by the Austrians. And they can easily match up to the Walloon Guards with those numbers. Over here, push here by the Prussian cavalry, still not wanting to commit, not finding any weak spots in the enemy lines. And countercharge here, though, by the Polish Guard Lancers, charging into an unprotected light infantry unit. And with no one nearby, they are going to get just destroyed. They're going to try and run for their lives. We do have some foot guards here. And hopefully they will be able to form up in time. But just a great charge here by the French player. In destroying that unit. Spanish Fusiliers up against the Musketeers. Pretty even matchup, but like I said, again, Spanish player being effective using his terrain to his benefit. And the same with the use shape here, kind of trapping these Austrians without them even really noticing. And they are heavily outnumbered, pretty much 4-1. And it looks like some Musketeers going in for a melee charge, this time into a Fusilier unit that is in square. He's definitely tired of this unit being in square, and maybe that can free up some space for him to charge in a cavalry regiment. You know, it looks like these Chasseurs are ripe for the picking, even though they do have a Guard Lancer unit right behind them. It can be a very good charge for the Prussians, but a devastating volley from the Chasseurs. They do make it into melee combat, but just volley after volley. Those Lancers are Prussian cavalry taking a heavy amount of losses. Down to about 11 guys. They're actually going to be charging into the Polish Guard Lancers, but breaking before they can reach the lines. Actually killing 2 guys while they were routing. And there goes the Prussian cavalry. So with more troops routing in the center, Austrian player is going to be sent over with some more troops. This time we got some Hungarian Fusiliers and some more Hungarian Fusiliers. So still not willing to send over his elite troops. I think he's trying to counter what the French and the Spanish are doing, because they are not pushing up their elites either. So he's going to try and keep it as balanced as possible. And it looks like the balance of power is slightly favoring the red team. But these Fusiliers are definitely hard at work. We have the Walloon Guards engaging. Very, very thick lines. About 7 lines thick. Rows thick. That is ridiculous. And a counter charge here by the Polish Guard Lancers. Will they make it to the Prussian Fusiliers? We got the 8th Life Regiment here. They're going to get some good shots in before they can make it into melee combat. But the 8th Life Regiment, unable to form square, going to give the Guard Lancers a chance to kill as many Prussians. But luckily there is a Musketeer unit just a little bit over here. And they do have a good visual on this cavalry. Not to mention we have more foot guards being sent up the hill. They are getting picked off by the Chasseurs. So the French at the base of the hill are definitely being much more effective in their management. Just able to outmaneuver and pretty much outflank the enemy. Pushing very, very hard. But the French cavalry continuing their charge with only 2 guys, actually 5 guys. And there they go, but they made it very far behind enemy lines, this time to the Prussian Fusiliers. And once again, light infantry taking a heavy amount of losses. But now it's time for the foot guards to shine. They're going to be sent in towards the front lines. To help eliminate some of these French units, we got the Guard Seamen, an extremely elite unit for the French. Got some Chasseurs, and now the Jaegers are going to be engaging the Chasseurs. And they are protected by some Foot Guards and the General, and some Brandenburg Uhlans. At the top of the hill, though, pretty quiet. We got a couple shots being exchanged, but for the most part, both sides are withdrawing their forces and waiting for the action at the base of the hill to conclude. But things are too close to call still. And the Guard Seamen being very effective, shooting straight into the Musketeers. These guys do not miss, so most of their shots are going to be hitting the targets that they do aim at. And once again, this Chasseur unit being very annoying, shooting everything it sees. And it has a perfect visual for his range. And bringing these Foot Guards down to 106. Foot Guards now to 28 men, still great morale. But the Spanish just not wanting to break. Their numbers are starting to dwindle down. I think they did start to fill in the gaps. This unit's at 27 men. But as for these light infantry units in the center, seems like they're not being targeted. And they are lasting a very long time. So a charge here by the Prussian player into the French Chasseurs. 24 up against 33. It looks like the Foot Guards will win that engagement, and I do not see any reinforcements for the French or the Spanish, and as a result it looks like these Chasseurs will break. Yes, they do break, but the Foot Guards are very low on numbers. Brandenburg Uhlans now sent into the combat. They're going to be charging into some Spanish light infantry, and here they go, going full speed, charging in the forest. Officer dead. But this time, Spanish player unable to respond with any reinforcements. Now, looks like this French player is going to be taking up control up this side of the battlefield, seeing that the Spanish units are starting to get very, very low. And this charge still continuing now into the other Walloon Guard unit. We have some more Fusiliers running down from the hill. They have stopped the engagement on this side, seeing that their center is starting to collapse. And as of right now, the Austrians and the Prussians doing a really good job at containing the Spanish forces and limiting what the French player can do by running up the hill and just, backing off where he knows he will not win. And a great charge here by the Brandenburg Uhlans, charging downhill onto the Swissfoot. French player not paying attention and unable to form a square. That was a fantastic charge. Sending guys flying. So here he is. And the Prussian player is doing everything in his power to keep these French from aiding the Spanish, which are in some desperate times right now. But they are still going to be pushing up the hill, and now it is time for both Old Guard units to be on the move and sent into combat. So here goes the first Old Guard unit. Actually lost a guy already. Wonder if that was a straight volley that hit him. Very surprised how he died. But anyways, Spanish player losing a ton of troops. We have the Walloon Guards at the front line right now. And they are completely surrounded. So many Prussians and Austrians just slaughtering these Walloon Guards as they do try to keep the engagement alive. And we still have the Archduke Charles Legion sitting back and waiting to be ordered to go into combat. Same with this Foot Guard unit. And they too down to 119. So a couple stray volleys killing them here and there. Prussian player, very, very nice. Forcing the Spanish back. We do have the Spanish general here. He's going to try and keep the morale strong as they do keep the engagement going. But the French reinforcements have arrived, and they're going to be actually pushing back the Prussians now. So there goes one of the musketeer units. And it's going to force these Foot Guards to once again engage. And look at that. In the distance, we have the Old Guards marching in. These Foot Guards really need to hurry up with this engagement and beat back the Swissfoot before the Old Guards do arrive. But the Swissfoot do control the forest, and that is a crucial point. But this engagement here in the center is just endless. But taking a look at the bodies, Massive amount of losses. I mean, so many losses throughout this entire fields here. Swift marching up the hill. They're going to be aiding the Walloon Guards, seeing that their numbers are starting to get very low. That Fusilier unit did break, and so did the other one. So Walloon Guards, 24 men, engaging a unit with 61 and 41. And they are holding on with green morale. I'm sure the general is playing a huge role in that morale factor. But for the most part, these guys are not willing to break. They do have a lot of chevrons, so they're going to be highly effective in whatever they want to do. Hungarian Fusiliers, though, marching into combat. They have a full volley just awaiting these guys. Down to 15 men, still green morale. Make that 12 men, still green morale. This is just incredible by the Spanish. Down to 11. It looks like they are about to break. Down to 10. Are they going to break? There they go. So, fighting to the very last second. And now it's pretty much down to the French player. Big push here by the Austrians. Seeing that the center is starting to get very weak. But over here, another light infantry unit by the Spanish going to be engaging. Fantastic volley into the Hungarian Fusiliers. Down to 94 men and dropping. We have, I love this. So both generals are just facing each other. It's like chess right now. You got the kings on both sides and they're just watching as the game continues. So that's pretty interesting to see. I wonder if that is how it was in real life. I'm sure it was, but from a much further distance away, they would not want to risk their lives being this close. As mean as that may sound, but they were very important on the battlefield. If you knew a general of yours is dead, it would cause a huge amount of chaos, and eventually, if the army was that weak, to pretty much mass rout. And that is something you do not want out of an army. But back to the game, we got the Archduke Charles Legion. Looks like they were tempted to push in, but they're going to fall back once again. It looks like the Prussians are going to start outflanking the enemy now. They do control the high ground. And the Lightfoot forced to face a two-faced war. Got some light infantry up against some musketeers and some foot guards here. These guys are hidden right now, so the Spanish and the French have no clue they are there. Melee engagement straight into the foot guards. Light infantry against foot guards. I'm very surprised this French player is just sitting back like this, not helping out his ally. I know he's pretty much the only, army left that's engaging here, but he can definitely help out his own units. Look at this, we still have another foot guard unit all the way back here. So a lot of troops here by the Prussians. But it may seem like they are slightly outnumbered, as crazy as that may sound. Old Guard now in the heat of the battle. 104 men engaging the foot guards. And it looks like the Chasseurs are on the move now, sent to the base of this hill. We do have some Prussian Fusiliers awaiting their arrival. Got a random spear floating. That is very interesting. It's like poking him in the face. Oh, very lucky. Just missing that spear. But anyways, they're going to be engaging this Polish Legion. Foot guards reforming the line. And it looks like they might go in for a charge here. I don't know if they're out of ammunition or what, but they do not want the French climbing the hill. And if they are going in for a charge, which I think they are, they're going to get a really nice downhill charge on them. So here they go. 120. And just like that, down to 110 guys. Chasseurs, though, backing up the Polish Legion. They're going to be shooting at the foot guards, but same with their own guys. Shooting their own men in the back, that is never good. Got the Prussian general being sent over, trying to keep the morale up. And it seems to be working. So 29 up against 79, definitely outnumbered. He did inspire his men. But as a result of engaging at the base of the hill, it's going to allow for some weak points. An example of this great charge here by the Spanish general, charging into the Prussian Fusiliers, which are heavily outnumbered on this side. And it looks like they're going to be reinforced by some cavalry. Actually, the Legion going to be engaging. They might be able to kill the Spanish general. Oh, it's just him. Can he make it out is the question. And it looks like he will. So, Spanish general running from the battlefield. And only him that is left. So, impressive that they did not kill him. Maybe a stroke of luck or maybe some respect, not wanting to kill another officer in the time of battle. But now the Austrian player running low on ammunition, and they are forced to face a lot of troops still here. Got the Swiss foot and Old Guard, so they're going to be charging in. Definitely better charging in than just taking volleys without killing anyone. But it looks like the Foot Guards did break, and same with the Swiss foot. Yeah, the Foot Guards here, they're going to be pushing up the hill. But a bit of a stalemate. We're going to fast forward just a little bit. It looks like they're going to be reforming the lines, but I'd have to say the French and the Spanish armies definitely outnumbering the Austrians and the Prussians. Because these guys, they don't have many units left, and not to mention, French still have a very healthy cavalry unit just in the distance. Looks like they did come back from routing, but engagement here, and they are out of ammo as well, so Austrians and the Prussians going to have to really think outside the box here if they want to be successful in beating back the French, because for the most part they are very healthy and there's still 2 Old Guard units on the battlefield. So cavalry charge here, charging into some Spanish light infantry. Got the Prussian general trying his best, and some musketeers engaging these light foot, knocking a lot of guys over. Down to 53 men though. Prussian general only losing 2 of his fellow bodyguards. And it looks like these guys will make it down the hill to safety. Look how fast some of these guys are running. They are hightailing it out of there. But we're going to continue to fast forward. Wait for the action to pick up. Looks like the Prussian general was tempted to charge in there. But seeing how many reinforcements there are for the French, he's going to think otherwise. But push here by the Prussians, or excuse me, the French and the Spanish. And they're going to be pushing up this hill. I think they are acting as a militia unit or a meat shield unit. And followed up, we have the Old Guard. So we will see how this attack goes. And we have the Legion here. Let's see how effective this volley is going to be. Just shredding this light infantry as they do run across the fields. Down to 34 men. They do break, but here goes the Swiss foot now forming up their lines. Hungarian Fusiliers that are out of ammunition are going to be sent down the hill onto French positions. But you can see more troops coming out of hiding now. Got the Polish Legion there with 120 men. Foot Guards though engaging the Swiss foot down to 30 men and dropping at a very fast rate. Those guys are breaking from the battlefield. Now we have the Hungarian Fusiliers engaging the Old Guard. Old Guard getting caught off guard, trying to get some shots in. But for the most part, they're going to be engaging, and this is going to allow the Foot Guards to get some really good flanking shots in. Look how many Old Guard are dropping now. The morale for the Old Guard, very bad, and they do break. So, excellent teamwork there by the Austrian player and the Prussian player, coordinating attacks at the appropriate time and causing a lot of elite troops for the French to break. So, it looks like they're going to be charging in once again. The Chasseur unit very, very healthy in numbers. But with Foot Guards and the Legion engaging, things can go very bad. So just like that, Chasseurs are breaking. And now we have the Polish Legion charging in. Countercharged by the Foot Guards, 118 up against 107. Prussians should win this engagement. They are on their side of the battlefield. Not to mention a very healthy general inspiring their men. And outskilling their opponents as well. 87 up against 96. And look at that morale drop. 70 men. Where is the French general when you need them? Or needs him. And there goes the Polish Legion with 62 men left. But that is not going to stop the charge from the French. We have another push here of Polish Legion. And I think that engagement did start to balance out the balance of power in terms of manpower. But they're going to be engaging in the forest. Polish Legion up against Foot Guards. Another engagement that the Prussians should win. And look at that rock face. What? Oh man, that is very tall. Didn't really notice how high up that was, but if someone were to fall off of that, no bueno. So another engagement here. We're just going to fast forward. It is in the forest, so it will last a lot longer, but a push here by the Prussians and the Austrians coordinating an attack. Excellent volley into the light infantry. Down to 22 men. Bad morale. They do break. And now it is all down to the French. There is no more Spanish units remaining on the battlefield. So 6 units up against, I would say, 7. So odds very even on both sides, but it's going to come down to who has the better terrain and who has the better units. And looking at the game at this point in time, I would have to give it to the Austrians and the Prussians. They do have the hill advantage, and they do have the numbers. 89 foot guards up against 57 of the Polish Legion. Taking a long time to form up. Looks like a bit of a stalemate here, so we're going to fast forward once again. We will see what he can do. We got some Chasseurs on the move now. And it looks like they might be engaging the foot guards, but a long stalemate here. No one's really willing to engage. And right when the foot guards do start to push up and engage, you got the Polish Legion actually engaging. Nope, take that back. They're just going to be staring each other down once again. So we're going to fast forward just a little bit, wait for the action to pick up once again, because both sides are very, very low on numbers. Now, very interesting move here. If you guys don't know, if you are in square formation for line infantry and form square, you do get an extra range boost. So very helpful tool when it comes to close games like this. So great move by the Prussian player, knowing the game well and understanding when he can fire and use that extra range. And just like that, even though it was a simple move and really didn't seem like much, he was able to down maybe about 10 guys of the Polish Legion. And when it comes down to a very close ending, every man counts. So great move there by the Prussian player. He might actually do it again, and yes, he will. This time bringing them down to 47 men. And with that happening, French player getting very pissed off, so he's going to be pushing up his Swiss foot, 120 men. We got the Chasseurs engaging the foot guards. Foot guards just out of range. It's going to allow the Chasseurs to get some good volleys in. But look at these bodies. So many men just dead. And on this side, just nothing really. A couple losses here and there, but for the most part, ton of losses on this side. So push here by the French, attacking on this side of the battle. Looks like the Chasseurs are out of ammo. They're going to be charging into the foot guards, and they're going to be followed up by the Polish Legion. Shooting through the forest into the Chasseurs, down to 38 men. And a countercharge by the foot guards. There goes the Chasseurs. But it's going to allow time for the Polish Legion to get some shots off. But the foot guards are just not going to allow that. Going to get a countercharge in. And there they go. So Polish Legion 98 up against 97 foot guards. Close engagement, and like I said, once again, it's going to come down who has the better skill. 85 up against 85. These numbers are dropping at a very quick rate for both sides. I guess the Polish Legion are pretty good in melee combat, but morale is starting to get to them quite a bit. Looks like the Old Guard once again on the move, seeing that the Polish Legion do need some help. They're going to be sent over. 66 up against 65. Things are too close to call. Very, very close. And we do have some Austrian troops helping out the Prussians. 53 Polish Legion troops left. Ooh. Oh man, the Polish Legion are just getting their butts whooped right now. But Old Guard and the French general being sent over. Austrians and the Prussians, though, still unable to break these French lines. And the Old Guard are now going to start forming up. Polish Legion reforming their lines. And we have the Foot Guards now engaging, so while the Austrian players engaging the Polish Legion, get the Foot Guards, they're going to be engaging the Old Guard. And the Old Guard still 120 men. And Old Guard are extremely elite and can easily change the tide of the battle. So we're going to wait for them to form up and see what devastation they can unleash. 37 Musketeers charging into a very healthy Old Guard unit. That is not going to go well whatsoever. Can the Old Guard get another volley in, though, is the question. No, they will not. Musketeers did make it into melee combat, bringing the Old Guard down to 108 men. Let's take a look over here at this side of the battlefield. Old Guard breaking through that front line, but here comes the Legion and some Foot Guards. It is a 5-on-3, or 5-on-4. So closing the gap even more. We're going to fast forward and wait for this game to be played out. Push here, though, by the French player, sending up both his units. Foot Guards are going to start engaging, bringing them down to 98 men. And here goes the Prussian general into the French. And not forming square. That is going to hurt the morale. Looks like the Polish Legion are going to get a return volley in, but here comes the Dutch Guard Lancers. Swissfoot hanging on by a thread right now. And the general, Prussian general, being sent over to the Polish Legion. And these guys should break. Only down to 40 men. There they go. Polish Guard Lancer, or Dutch Guard Lancers, excuse me. They're going to be charging down the general staff for the Prussian player. And he will make it into melee combat. Old Guard on the move right now. Got the Legion trying to form up. And here comes the Old Guard coming out of the forest. Austrians waiting patiently to get their volleys off and engage. Here they go. Oh, pushing up a little bit more. Old Guard going to get the first volleys in. 82 up against 105. Austrian general now being sent in. And look at that. Just like that on the left flank, that unit has pretty much actually the Foot Guards and the general staff able to break 3 of those units. So very effective there. Austrian general getting a good fake charge in on the Old Guard. We have the French general in combat right now. He's going to be charging into the Legion. Knocking over a couple guys. This horse actually knocking over 2 guys. Here goes another charge. Here is the French general. Will he die? Oh, he is dead, but it does not show he died. That must have been a fake general. Looked like he had a badge or a medal, but I guess not. So there goes the French general now, routing from the battlefield, and it is a 4-on-1. But the Old Guard, very healthy numbers, but they're up against some pretty healthy troops as well. So make that a 5-on-1 actually. Old Guard definitely up against a lot. We have the Austrian general right here, retreating from the battlefields, or falling back from the battlefield. Does not want to die and cause a mass rout, so he's going to sit back and allow the Legion to do their work. 45 up against 47. Meanwhile, we have the Foot Guards just looking at the engagement in the forest, but let's take a look closer up and see what exactly is going on. Shooting their own men in the back. Actually helping out the French, but the French morale did go bad, and just like that, that is the game. So, great win for the red team. And Graber was in command of the Austrians. So, thank you very much, Graber, for sending in this replay. It was an excellent game and came down pretty much to the wire. So, taking a look at the kills, Prussian player getting 1,400 kills. The most out of everyone in this lobby. Next up, we have Graber getting 1,100 kills. French player, 900 kills, could have done better. Actually surprised he did better, or worse than the Spanish player. And then over here we have the Spanish player with 1,200 kills. Take a look at the unit statistics. Hungarian Fusileers on top, earning 2 chevrons, 165 kills, not bad at all. But yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to join my Steam group and Discord for any future notifications. And I'm also, as crazy as this may sound, going to be doing a face reveal once I do break 100 followers on Instagram. So if you want to, go ahead and follow me there and just make it one follow closer to a face reveal. I guess that is the best way to do it. So that is pretty much it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys later.
Of the past that controls